Welcome back to another edition of the Unknown Sports Podcast. My name is AJ Musser. Joined with me today is just Hunter Harris. Hunter, dude, just the two of us again.
Just the two of us.
I think I tried to sing it last time, so it's all right.
Well, Austin tonight. I'm trying to fix my camera here as we go.
It's all right.
Austin tonight has, what is he doing? Baseball tryouts?
He's got a bunch of baseball stuff at the high school he coaches at, so he's just busy tonight. So tonight will be a quicker show brought to you by us, and we're gonna drink out of some nice Macadoodles glasses.
I'm not. I'm drinking out of
this.
My Unknown Sports Podcast cup.
Oh, it's making its an appearance. Oh, and it even has your name on it. Wow. Where did you get that? Your local Walmart?
Some lovely lady made this for me. I really appreciate it.
Some lovely lady made it for him, Carly. I made it.
Oh, you made it?
I put the stickers on.
Did you?
I did it.
I thought Carly did this all.
I mean, it's just nice to know that I'm a lovely lady. No, I did mine. I did both of them.
Well, now I can rip on it and how bad this is. The stickers coming off over here.
Yeah, see?
I mean,
oh my gosh. It's not coming off. Oh, make sure you hand wash it.
How long did this take you to do? I hope you had a template, because there's no way you were sticking these just by each individually.
No, I freehanded it.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did.
I don't believe you.
The listeners don't want to listen to us go back and forth, but yeah, no, I freehanded it.
Wow. Impressive.
I guess I'm impressive.
You have steady hands.
Job recruiters, if you're looking for someone to put stickers on glasses, holla at you, boy.
Steady hands on your resume under skills.
All right, let's talk about this beer. Strawberry Velvet India Pale Ale with strawberry, vanilla, and a bit of lactose. Hunter, I'm lactose intolerant, dude. I might have to.
Are you gonna have a seizure on the show?
I don't think that's how lactose intolerant works. We don't have seizures.
You just have to go to the bathroom.
If you see me stand up real quick and grab my stomach, and I start waddling away, you'll know.
Beautiful color. I was expecting more of a red-ish, pinkish color, but we'll see how this goes. You're gonna hate it because it's fruity. I'm probably gonna like it because it's fruity.
But it's strawberry. I might like it. It's not sour.
See,
the other ones,
I knew I was going to like
the fruity
this.
ones that we've done have been sour. You know what I mean? We haven't done a whole lot of. What do you think?
Good stuff for me.
Is it smooth?
I like it. Yeah.
Can you taste the lactose
in
it?
You know I like my flavors and stuff. I'm girly. Is that girly? Am I even allowed to say that? Are we going to get canceled? I don't know if we're supposed to say that.
Not enough people listen to our show to be canceled. That's not bad. I think that whatever the lactose is makes it a little bit smoother. But yeah, it is kind of a fruity, almost like a creamy. Carly had a sip and she's shaking her head, but
not a fan. We don't have a lot of sports to talk today, but what we do have is the fun stuff. I'm excited.
The fun stuff? What's the fun stuff?
NFL free agency. It's almost as fun as...
Back to the sport we're good at talking about?
Yeah, this is, to me, almost as fun as week one. It's seeing where all the reshuffling is, watching all the alerts come up, and having hope for your team to get actual players that you want is always exciting.
I think the draft is more fun.
Really?
To me, the draft is more exciting like week one. To me, free agency is like preseason excitement. You know what I mean?
Kinda.
Like it's the beginning and it's kind of. But yeah, I mean, depending on your team though, because some teams try to build mainly through the draft, while others, like the Patriots,
like if you're a Patriots fan today, you're psyched. This is probably going to be the best day of your year.
Yeah, for sure.
But where do you want to start?
Go ahead.
Do you want to just start at the top here and go down and work through the teams?
Yeah, let's go. Let's knock this out by division, and we're only going to really touch on key players in divisions, and then we'll move on because we don't want to spend an hour on this, but we also want to spend more than 5 minutes on it. So go ahead, start us off with whatever you want to.
Start with the Bills.
Start with the Bills.
Matt Milano, they agreed to a 4-year contract. It's not a big big thing there. We can move on. The Dolphins.
I like the Matt Milano though. Good signing, keeping
You
him
do.
there. Yeah.
Isaiah Wilson was traded to the Dolphins. This was a move that happened a couple days ago that we didn't really touch on because we didn't have a podcast last week. But he was acquired in a trade with the Titans in exchange for a 7th-round pick. A guy that, has some upside, hasn't really done anything with it so far. Benardrick McKinney also signed, is traded there from the Texans. That's a deal that I like Benardrick McKinney, so I guess we'll see if that's worth anything. And then we have the Patriots. So they have
Patriots
been very
had a
active
day today. I'm just going to run through their list real quickly. Quarterback Cam Newton, wide receivers Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne. Jonnu Smith from the Titans signed with them. Trent Brown from the Raiders signed with them. I'm going to try to pronounce this. Dietrich Wise Jr. Devon Godeshow. He's the defensive tackle from the Dolphins. He's pretty solid.
Mm-hmm, he is.
Henry Anderson, don't know that one. Matthew Judon, that was a pretty big linebacker signing
biggest
for them.
name they've probably signed.
Justin Bethel, he's actually, I don't think he's too bad. I think he's a pretty average cornerback. That'll be nice to bump them up. And then Jalen Mills, I do like that signing as well. Safety Jalen Mills.
I'm not all about that signing personally because it was 4 years for $24 million, but I like the 9 guaranteed on. I think it was 9 guaranteed on that. So if it doesn't work out, you're not losing a whole lot.
Let's end it with the Jets here real quickly. They pretty much went out and got Corey Davis and Carl Lawson, Gerard Davis, and Marcus May. Marcus May's okay, or he franchise tagged actually. But Corey Davis is their biggest signing of the day.
Yeah.
I do not like that one. That's bad.
For
3
that
years,
much money,
$37.5 million.
Either.
No, that's a really bad signing.
Who was going out there and negotiating with him, giving him more money that they had to give him that contract?
You know who gets the sip of the day is Corey Davis's agent. You go, guy. You did a heck of a job.
Corey Davis had his best year last year, but, I mean, come on. Is he worth this much? I like the Carl Lawson signing. Carl Lawson's extremely underrated. I like him a lot.
Corey Davis is going to be going to the Jets, and he's going to be a number 1 receiver making $12 million a year. Like, you're not a number 2 receiver and make that kind of money unless you're Sammy Watkins.
And is he a number 1 to you? Because I don't think he is.
No, he's not. He wasn't any good and didn't get his yardage and stuff until A.J. Brown came to town. Yeah. That was last year was his 4th year in the NFL, I believe. I think I'm pretty correct in that one. It's 3rd or 4th year. And that was the first time he crossed 1,000 yards in his career because he has A.J. Brown going toe-to-toe with him. So he's getting the number 2 corners. You know what I mean?
And on top of that, it was a contract year. And I'm always weary when guys have their best year on contract years.
And I'm not saying he's bad by any means, but he needs to be a number 2 or a number 3 there. He can't come in. He needs to just play his role. And whatever that is.
He was a guy coming out of college that people talked about as a 1, possibly. But, I mean, when it takes this long, I feel like at this point we know who he is. He's not going to be a number 1, like you said. I just mentioned how I don't love when teams sign guys that are coming off of contract years and are putting their absolute, best A game out there just to get a contract. And we see – I don't think this is a take a lot of people are going to have – the Patriots basically give out contracts to all of those guys.
Yeah, they all got pretty solid deals.
Yeah. I don't know if all of these guys are going to be, no longer motivated to play well, but like Nelson Aguilar, best year of his career last year. Jonnu Smith, best year of his career last year. Davon, what's his name? You said it better than I do. Godchucks, whatever. Not Chucks. That's not
Godshow.
Godshow. That's how you say it.
Godshow.
Best year of his career last year. Matt Judon, same. Jalen Mills. It just is. To me, if you don't want to buy high, you want to buy people lower. Because what's the best case scenario? They play the same way they did last year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. The thing that I was most curious about was the re-signing of Cam Newton.
Yeah.
To me. Maybe this is me thinking in the moment. Maybe it's them signing him in case they don't get to draft the quarterback they want being Mac Jones. So I feel like it's kind of a backup plan because there's no way Bill wants to go into this season with Cam Newton as his quarterback after what they did last year on offense.
Yeah, I'd agree with that for the most part, but I think I would throw in also that if Cam is the starter, I don't think Bill isn't by any ways upset with that. Like if they draft a guy or they don't get the guy in the draft they want, he's totally content with running it back with Cam. And I think that's mainly just because of things we've heard about how they connect with, it's a personality thing with Cam, with how hard he works and with how his attitude he brings. And he's actually really, really smart about the game. The problem is that he just can't throw the football anymore, like at all. So
me saying that Cam Newton shouldn't be their quarterback has nothing to do with him personally. I just don't think he's not good enough to be like, I don't know. I don't even know if he's good enough to be a starter anymore, but maybe that's just over.
He's not the 32nd best quarterback in the league, but he's also nowhere near the middle of the pack. I feel like he's definitely on that ladder, 20 to 28
he's in
range.
that bottom six.
It's
he's
definitely
in the Sam
not
Darnold
good
class.
But anyways, they could be good here if they draft right. They haven't drafted right in years, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the AFC North. Starting with the Ravens, they sign Kevin Zeitler. That's a pretty good signing.
Great signing.
Justin Ellis re-signs for a year. Not sure who that is, defensive tackle. Bengals, Brandon Allen gets re-signed for 1 year. Clark Harris re-signed for 1 year. No big deal.
Nothing yet.
Browns, John Johnson signs a 3-year deal. $33.75 million, 24 guaranteed. Let's go to the Steelers. They re-sign Ray McLeod, signed BJ Finney, offensive lineman, and Cameron Sutton stays in Pittsburgh on a 2-year deal.
Not a whole lot there either. Main thing
AFC
in
North
this
didn't do a
division
whole lot.
Main thing in this division is the Browns and signing John Johnson, which you texted us that you were very happy about.
Oh yes, I was enthused about this one.
Why are you so happy about it?
Well, he was ranked 3rd by PFF last year in efficiency, so I like that he's a pretty solid piece of that Rams defense. Obviously, he's not the number one reason, and he's not going to be the number one guy on the Browns either because they've got Myles Garrett. But I really like him back there, ensuring because like the Browns safeties for the past 2 seasons and their whole secondary has pretty much just been a rotation of guys because of injuries and how bad they are. Like Sheldrick Redwine pretty much got benched for how bad he was, and then because of injuries ended up being the starter for the whole second half of the season pretty much. And he had some okay games, but so John Johnson's a good signing because when Grant Delpit comes back healthy this year from his Achilles injury last year that kept him out the whole season, that should end up being a pretty good safety pairing. Now they just need to kind of get healthy at the cornerback position.
Is there anything you're looking for on your wish list for the Browns?
I thought about this earlier. It's really kind of off topic because it goes to the Russell Wilson thing. If you were the Browns, this is just, like I said, off topic a little bit. If you were the Browns, would you trade Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, and 2 first-round picks for Russell Wilson?
No.
No?
No.
I thought about it, and that would be incredibly tempting. Like, as a Browns fan, but even as like a Seahawks GM or something, you're like, okay, I got a average quarterback to above average quarterback at best. I have Nick Chubb, a top 3 running back in the league, and Pete Carroll likes to run it plus 2 first-round draft picks. I think it'd be tempting.
The number one reason you wouldn't do that is because
Russell Wilson wouldn't stay in Cleveland. That's why I wouldn't do it.
Well, it'd be hard to convince him to stay. Also, I like that you have Baker on a rookie deal right now, and moreover, I don't think Baker long term is going to be, Hall of Fame quarterback level at all. But he can be enough to where you guys sign him to a deal like 20 to 25 million a year, and you could build around that. You could still have this super stacked roster with Baker. But if this isn't even about Baker, I think that trade that you just threw out, it's about those picks and stuff and what you could turn into it, and Nick Chubb as well as,
Yeah.
I would rather keep the team intact than sell it all for this guy.
That's not the whole team though. That's only two guys and
I
two
know,
picks that
but
aren't
those
even
are
there.
two corner pieces of your team.
Yeah,
So,
but you'd still have Kareem Hunt.
but it's
Like,
an interesting thought.
yeah.
And I know you
All right.
hate Baker, so you'd probably be happy about it, even if it meant getting rid of your favorite player, Nick Chubb.
Yeah. Um.
AFC South.
Yes. Go ahead and go for me because mine's all messed up at the loading. Go ahead.
Mark Ingram signed a 1-year deal, $3 million. Andre Roberts, Marcus Cannon, Shaq Lawson, Justin Britt, Justin McCray. They've actually been super active here. I didn't realize how active they were. Malik Collins, Gruder Hill, linebacker, Christian Kirksey, linebacker, Hargraves, cornerback, and
Kirksey moving around again.
Terrence Brooks. Yep. Colts have not done anything other than their trade for Carson Wentz earlier. The Jaguars, they signed Carlos Hyde, Jamal Agnew, I believe it was. Not James. I don't know why it's listed as James. His name's Jamal. I think that's a typo. Anyways, Philip Dorsett, Cam Johnson, Tyler Shatley, Dwayne Schmoot, Roy Robertson Harris, and Rudy Ford, all of the Jaguars. None of those guys are really big names at all. And then the Titans.
No, the good one though is Cam Robinson getting the franchise tag.
Yes, that is a good one. That's the only notable one worth talking about too.
Yeah. To the Titans.
The Titans. Bud
They're
Dupree.
big ones. Yeah, that's the big one that
yeah.
we want to mention. Yeah.
And then
Kendall Lamb,
Lamb
2-year
also.
deal. That's not bad too.
Not the end of the world.
Autry.
2-year, $8 million. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bud Dupree, $16.5
signings.
million a year. Do you think he's worth that?
Signing a multi-year, so it doesn't even say how many years.
Yeah, it's
just
not.
2.
It's not released yet. I believe
that's quite a bit of money for a guy coming off a torn ACL.
Right?
Yeah. He's good. By all means, like he's super good, but he's also going opposite of TJ Watt and that incredible defensive line, those big 3 guys. And not to down him at all. He's good, but he's not going to have that kind of supporting cast to pass rush in Tennessee.
Yeah.
He's going to have to be the guy in Tennessee.
If you're not familiar with Bud Dupree, I'd say he does the main things like a top 10 player, but he doesn't do anything super top echelon. He's not like a great pass rusher. He's not great dropping out into coverage. He's not great in the run game. He's just solid in like every aspect. But 16.5, man, that's a lot.
He's fast too.
Yeah, he is fast.
He could definitely get sideline to sideline if he wanted to.
He'll definitely be better for them than Jadeveon Clowney was last year. So I guess they have that going for them. AFC West.
Yeah, move on. Starting with the Broncos.
Broncos didn't do anything besides get Ronald Darby, basically. They retained their guys. Chiefs.
And franchise tagging Justin Simmons. That's a big one.
Yeah, that one was to be expected as well. Kansas City Chiefs, they got Joe Thuney. If you're not familiar with Joe Thuney, he was the 3rd ranked by, I don't love PFF, but I feel like I have to just reference them because they do, the best job of it.
Should we start ranking players?
We could start doing it.
I don't think either of us wants to put that kind of time in, but
I did the PFF thing for those few months there. Thing's brutal, and I would never do it again.
Yeah.
But Joe Thuney signing a 5-year, $80 million contract. What do you think about that?
That's a lot of money. I don't know. I heard Joe Thuney was a big name, but like he doesn't. I don't know. When I think of guards, I don't think of Joe Thuney, but he's not bad. But he's also from the Patriots, and typically Patriots offensive linemen go other places and don't perform as well because they have such good offensive line coaching.
History has shown that, yes.
So, worries me a little bit, but still a pretty good player. We'll see. Could work out for Kansas City and the better.
They need
I just
more
in the way that hopefully he just doesn't have his he tries to play to the contract's potential. You know what I mean? Because I think that's so much money that if you're like below average for like a stretch during the season, you're just going to come off as overpaid.
Yeah. And I think part of the reason they overpaid was because last year, like literally one of the weaknesses that they had on offense was interior offensive line. But at the same time, they just cut both of their tackles. So I kind of like to see them make a move for some tackles here. So
Yeah. Moving on to Vegas, they signed Yannick Ngakoue, 2 years, $26 million.
he was a guy that
Chargers,
struggled last year with the Ravens. Big name coming out of Jacksonville, and then he gets thrown into a place that really we talk about Baltimore as this defensive powerhouse, which they are for the most part, but that usually doesn't coincide with guys putting up great individual numbers. So I'd be interested to see how he rebounds here as a guy that has a lot of promise as a defensive end. So, but we can.
Then we go Chargers, Corey Linsley, and Michael Davis.
Yeah, Corey Linsley, Packers player.
That's a good one.
Yeah, best center in football. So good for them.
That's good for. That's definitely good for Herbert.
Yeah, for
to
sure.
get a good veteran center that was with Aaron Rodgers can maybe teach Herbert a thing or two.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hit up the NFC East here real quick. Cowboys signed Dak to a 4-year, $160 million with 126 guaranteed. We'll cycle back around to that. Let's finish this.
Okay.
Giants signed Devontae Booker, running back, and Leonard Williams. They franchise tag. That was a good one. Leonard Williams was pretty solid for them last year.
He's really good.
Washington football team received the franchise tag from Brandon Scherf, and they signed a kicker, Dustin Hopkins. So glad they're making some moves too. That seems like a team that is just kind of hanging out at the bottom. Eagles not making a move too is pretty dumb, especially with their new regime. That's pretty suspect.
Yeah. You want to talk Dak?
Yep, let's talk some Dak. I'll let you kick it off.
Is an awful contract. Awful.
That's what you get for screwing him. And if they would have just signed him 2 years ago or last year, they wouldn't be paying him this much.
They offered him. A couple years ago. It wasn't what he wanted, though. I don't know, man. 4 years, $160 million. Obviously, only 126 of that is guaranteed. But
it's $126 million.
Yeah, man. I mean, let me ask you this.
So 4 years, $160 million. If I'm going to do a little quick math in my head, that's $40 million a year. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
That's so much. That's so much on your cap. I think the NFL salary cap was $200 million, around that, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere around the $200 million mark. So you're using almost a quarter of your salary cap on one player. I get that because the Chiefs are doing it too, but the Chiefs are doing it with this guy named Patrick Mahomes, who is a hell of a lot better than Dak Prescott.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. Dak's fine. I mean, he's a good player.
Dak is a good quarterback to me, maybe a top 10 quarterback, but 9 or 10.
Yeah.
But not $40 million.
You can win a Super Bowl with Dak for sure. You can't win a Super Bowl with Dak for $40 million a year.
Dak can't carry you to a Super Bowl, and that's your problem that you now have, Jerry Jones. And I get the NFL's going to sign a deal for all that money and stuff, but I think this year's going to be a down year for them. Honestly, their cap, I bet their freaking HR or whoever helps with the cap is freaking out. Where do we find this money to get under the cap so that we have room to get players? Because they're just paying everybody.
Yeah. I believe half of their cap is spent on 4 guys with Dak, Elliott, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Amari Cooper. And would you say any of those guys are in the top 3 at their positions? Because I would say no. The closest would be Elliott, and he had an awful year last year. So
yeah, he's definitely
that's the state of the Cowboys right now.
Yeah, it's not good. Not that either of us are Cowboys fans, but What do we got next? NFC North.
Yep.
I'll let you run through that one.
Chicago Bears, they franchise tagged Allen Robinson. That was
I like that.
the best move that they could do. They could not let him go. Their kicker and their punter, who cares? Actually, they re-signed their kicker to make the second highest paid kicker in football while everybody was cutting players the other day. Hilarious. Defensive end Mario Edwards re-signed there on a 3-year deal. The Lions, they've basically been letting a lot of guys walk, but they did bring back Romeo Okwara to a 3-year deal. He's a good player, so good on that one. They did sign Tyrell Williams as well, who was I believe he was with he wasn't with the Chargers last year. That was a couple years
No, he
ago.
was with the Raiders last year.
Correct. And then the Packers signed Aaron Jones for a 4-year, $48 million contract. And then the Vikings signed defensive end Stephon Weatherly to a 1-year deal.
All right, so 2 ones that I want to talk about with this one is good move on you, Chicago, for franchise tagging Allen Robinson. But I want to talk Lions offense and Aaron Jones. Which would you like to do first?
Can we start with the Lions?
Yep, we can. So they traded for Jared Goff, we know, and then signed Tyrell Williams. Also signed a tight end, Josh Hill. What's the name of the tight end they have there already?
Hawkinson.
And I like Hawkinson. That's a solid offense for Jared Goff actually to go into this season with. I know, like, I'm not very excited about this Detroit team, and like Matt Stafford couldn't get it figured out, so who knows what Jared Goff is going to do. But like, if they have Galladay come back, that's not a bad team. They've got and who is the running back? I'm forgetting his name too. The rookie DeAndre Swift. They got DeAndre Swift, Tyrell Williams, Kenny Galladay, Hawkinson, Josh Hill, and Jared Goff. So that's weapons for Jared Goff. He again doesn't have an excuse to be bad. If he's bad with Detroit, maybe you can just say, "Oh, it's Detroit," but like, that's not a bad cast.
He's going to be bad with Detroit, and what they're going to say is that it's a new staff and everything's shifting around. So he hasn't had time to settle in. He's going to be bad. So
no, he is.
Let's not be too optimistic with Jared Goff.
Aaron Jones, 4 years, $48 million, $13 million signing bonus. Payday, nice.
Works out to be about $9 million a year when you break it down, actually, with guaranteed money, upwards of 12 if he plays well.
Which he'll play well, just won't be in the big games, right? I thought it was funny when that news came out. You sent a screenshot of the box score of the NFC Championship game, and then focused in on the 2 fumbles.
9 for 26, and then 2 fumbles
to say
benched at halftime.
That Hunter is not happy with this signing.
I don't understand the direction. I was sitting on the couch next to you. Or no, I wasn't. That was for the Jordan Love pick. Excuse me.
That was
the second rounder. We go with we take a 5th round grade on AJ Dillon. We take him in the 2nd round. Everybody kind of just expects him to be the future, right? This means that they're not bringing back Aaron Jones. They're going with the never pay the running back strategy. They're reaching here, but it's going to be warranted because he's going to be the starter in the year. He's the backup now because we decided to pay Aaron Jones $9 million a year. I know he's not being paid like, Kamara, McCaffrey, guys like that. It's not going to destroy our cap room, but what it is it's going to make it near impossible for us to make a splash in free agency this year and next year. And I don't understand why we would do that. What is our biggest needs? Stop the run. We're not going to be able to do that unless we draft super, super well, which we're not because we haven't done it so far. I hate my franchise.
I think Aaron Jones, you can't even get on that level with me.
I have higher expectations. This is bad.
Yeah, the Browns exceeded my expectations.
Just pick a lane. Pick a lane. Are you going to try to win the Super Bowl, or are you going to try to plan for the future? You can't do both here. Okay? We have a window with Rodgers. Do it now. Try to win
Do it
now.
now.
Get defense. Don't paying Aaron Jones $9 million a year. Yeah, awesome. Who cares, man? You got to be getting defense right now. We're gonna get gashed in the run game all year, next year again, and we're gonna end up 13-3. We're gonna make it to the championship game. We're gonna get freaking gashed again. I can't
Well,
stand this.
the perk of it is at least it's not Aaron Jones gashing against you guys. Moving on to the NFC South, Atlanta did not make a move yet. Carolina franchise tagged Taylor Morton, not an offensive tackle I'm
He's good.
familiar with. New Orleans Saints re-signed Jameis, Ty Montgomery, James Hurst, offensive lineman, and
How
Marcus
dare
Williams
they?
also
They
was
didn't
franchise
put.
tagged.
They didn't put. They didn't put Taysom Hill's 4-year, $150 million contract that's all voidable on here. Did you see this? How they're playing this?
Yeah, Carly told me about it actually.
It's a joke.
Moving on to Tampa Bay, Chris Godwin gets franchise tagged. Gronk signs a 1-year, $8 million deal with them, up to 10. Shaq Barrett re-signs with them. That's big. Levante David re-signs, also a good one. And then Kevin Minter. Yeah, that's the NFC South. Yeah, I think that going into this year with Jameis re-signing, Jameis is going to be the starter. It won't be Taysom Hill.
I would agree with that. I would bet money that both of them play next year for sure.
Both of them start?
Both of them start next year.
Yeah, because it's different than playing. Because
yeah, well, obviously
I don't
Taysom
know.
Hill's going to play. You know,
maybe
what I mean.
They will give Taysom a chance, and then because I think that Sean Payton likes him, so if he can't play quarterback for him and he can't start, does he just go back to being this utility guy that he was, or do you just cut ties with him and let him move on?
Well, let me ask you: if you're Sean Payton, do you think that you still have a Super Bowl window here?
No. Well,
then what are we doing?
If you're asking the coach, well, no. If you're asking the coach, yeah, because they have all of the pieces there. They just don't have Drew Brees anymore.
But yeah,
but
exactly.
To me, you needed prime Drew Brees, and
you weren't winning with Drew Brees 3 years ago.
If Jameis can be what people thought he could be when he was drafted, they could still have a Super Bowl window. But Jameis would have to be a 180 on Jameis's career.
Yeah, and that's not happening.
He couldn't be a 30-30 quarterback anymore. He'd have to
he did get LASIK, so who knows? But yeah, if you're the Saints, what's your direction here? I feel like you have to at some point here just bite the bullet and go full rebuild. They just keep pushing this back with the cap. If you're a listener and you don't understand how the heck they're getting under the cap every single year when they're $100 million over going into free agency literally every year, it's because they keep restructuring, and with this new rule, you can keep pushing money back through signing bonuses. And like I mentioned, the 4-year, $150 million contract for Taysom Hill, that's all voidable. Mm-hmm. Basically what that does is allows them to push their signing bonus all the way back into the future, so it's not really a big hit against the cap this year. It's a joke. In a few years, they're going to be paying for that, or they might just continue to push it down the road. At some point, it's going to hit the fan. I don't understand what they're doing. That franchise is going to be in a tailspin very, very soon.
Yeah, Sean Payton won't be at the helm when that happens. He'll be out of there.
Probably,
he's not sticking around.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Let's go to the NFC West.
Last division.
Yeah, start with the Cardinals. They re-signed Marcus Golden. That's a big one, especially since they brought in J.J. Watt, signing on a 2-year deal. Tanner Vellaho. I don't know. I might have mispronounced that one. Yeah. Robert Alford.
Used to be good.
Andy
I don't know how
Lee,
good he is anymore.
1-year punter. Let's go.
Andy Lee?
We gotta let the punters represent on here. Then we go to the Rams. We know about the trade they did. They got Matt Stafford and they re-signed Leonard Floyd.
Floyd is that's
a good one.
Yeah, that's good.
49ers used check. They re-signed. How do you say this guy's name? Samson Ibukum?
Yeah. Ubikum. I can't say it. Anyways, he's a good
Yeah.
player.
Emmanuel Mosley and Jason Verrett signs on a 1-year deal.
And the Seahawks have
What other
done
team?
nothing.
Yeah, do Seahawks for me. My thing's messed up.
Seahawks haven't done anything. I love how Mina Kimes tweeted out yesterday before free agency started. She's like, I can't wait to see Seahawks Twitter go in a tailspin after they don't make a move in free agency in day one yet again. And here they are, not making a single move in free agency on day one.
Yeah.
Not a lot to talk about here. The Floyd
I like the Matt
contract is
Stafford.
nice.
I like the Leonard Floyd. Juszczyk is big, re-signing 5-year deal worth $27 million. That's pretty good money for a fullback.
Heck yeah. Position's not
So
dead.
represent.
One of the 5 left in the league, and he's getting paid.
But yeah, don't care too much for the corners.
It's pretty much everything so far. More and more news is coming out, though. Big names that are left. Kenny Golladay. Where do you think he's going to go?
I don't know.
No clue.
No clue.
I really don't know.
Haven't
either.
heard anything about him.
I
mean, I know who he is, but I haven't heard any news on him.
He's probably going to get paid too. He's probably going to get close to $16 million a year, I'd think. So whoever signs him better out of the room.
Wide receivers made a lot of money. So yeah, let's just overview on our takes. 1, Bill's in New England right now, and he's like, yep. He's like, I had my year without Brady. It's kind of a vacation year. I wasn't even checked in mentally. I'm going to make all these moves and stuff in the offseason, get all my guys back that sat out last year. New England is looking like a super solid team, and the only position they don't have figured out is quarterback.
And I think they still need to add one more playmaker on offense for sure. I mean,
A receiver.
Yeah, probably a receiver. They're going to lose James White. I mean, he hasn't signed anywhere, but I think they're losing him. And he was like their best offensive weapon they had last year because they don't have anything. But
James White to Tampa.
Yeah. But
You'd like that.
I'd like James
Brady.
White on my Packers, please.
Yeah.
I love James White. But yeah, I'd like to see them add one more offensive skill position player, but they've probably had the best offseason so far.
Yes. Yeah. They've definitely been the ones that have taken advantage of today. Another one I like the Browns one, obviously. I just like ensuring that back half of the secondary. That's big, and they needed that.
Other than that, it's not been a whole lot of activity with the big names so far. So more to watch. Maybe next week we'll be hitting on some big names.
Any NHL stuff you want to talk before we move on?
Not a whole lot. I mean,
Blackhawks have been slipping a little bit.
Blackhawks have been slipping. The Islanders right now are the hottest team in the NHL. They're on fire right now.
And they're fun to watch as well.
Very
I
fun.
enjoy watching Islanders.
Lightning have dropped a couple here lately as well.
Not when they played Chicago, they weren't.
But
as it stands right now, in the Central, top 4 teams are Florida, who picked up a win tonight against the Blackhawks, Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Chicago. But Chicago is only 4 points up on Columbus. Whereas Dallas, it all got weird too with Dallas when they had the outages in Texas. So like the rest of the NHL was at like 28, 30 games. The Blackhawks have played 30, but Dallas has only played 24 and they're only 9 points back. So they've got 6 games to get, 8 points or 9 points. That's definitely doable.
I'm watching the Oilers closely right now to see if they're going to heat up after they had their little break.
Well, I think the big thing for them is they need to just pile up some more wins and separate themselves from the Canadians and the Canucks and the Flames and kind of let those 3 teams duke it out for whoever gets the 4th seed in that division.
Playing the Flames tonight, the Flames were actually favored in that game, which was weird to me. But yeah, they need to separate themselves from the pack. As we near the trade deadline, too, it's going to be interesting to see who makes a move or if anybody makes a move because everything's weird this year. So
yeah, it is strange with the NHL and their rules, especially since they have so many Canadian teams. So how it works is if a Canadian team, like anyone in that North Division this year, because they had to break it up for COVID. So I don't know how many people know this, but So the Canadian teams are literally only playing against each other this whole season. They don't travel to U.S. to play any of their games because of COVID guidelines in Canada. So if they were to trade for a player that's not in Canada, that person would have to sit out 2 weeks in quarantine before they could even go to practice. So they'd be, I mean, it's kind of not worth it because you'd be losing a guy for like almost the remainder of the season if you made that trade.
Right.
So it would be a super high risk, high reward thing more so than usual when trading players. But Vegas has looked good. The Wild are on a tear recently. That West Division is actually pretty close with the Kings and the Coyotes and the Blues and Avalanche only 6 points apart.
I've been watching a lot of NHL lately, especially with the All-Star break. I was not watching any NBA. I was watching
I've been
all
watching
NHL.
more hockey than NHL for sure, or more hockey than NBA.
Right. You want to touch on the bracket before we get out of here?
Yes. Let me pull a bracket up.
Maybe
we'll do a bracket show on Thursday and just make our picks.
Maybe. I'd like to get set up a bracket for the listeners and for everybody that we can get in there. So if I get that done, I'm gonna put a link, or not a link. I'll put the information on how to join on our social media. So watch for that. But I'll just gonna run through the 1 seeds really quick. We don't have, or I guess the 1s and the 2s, because those are the main teams. In the West, we got Gonzaga and we got Iowa. In the East, we got Michigan, and then we got Alabama. In the South, we got Baylor and Ohio State. And in the Midwest, we have Illinois and Houston as 1 and the 2. There's a whole bunch of other teams here that we could go through and we could say that are frisky and stuff. Is there anybody here that you've watched this year that you're like, yeah, this team is for real and could actually win this whole thing?
Did Notre Dame make it?
No.
That's the team I saw the most of this season. I really didn't pay a whole lot of attention. I do pay attention to Ohio State basketball a little bit because I'm an Ohio State fan, but it seemed to me like I'm not going to pick them because every big game they had this season that was against a team that I do think could win it, like Illinois. Illinois was really good this year.
Oh, yeah. That's my pick.
But to me, there's no way Ohio State's going to win it as a 2 seed. Like, they might have an easy path, and they might beat up on the bad teams, but they can't beat the good teams. But I did see some Baylor. I watched some Baylor with you. They're okay. But I think Illinois, honestly.
To me, Gonzaga and Illinois are the two that are different than everybody else here. Those are my
Michigan's
2 teams.
The one I've heard so much about this year and haven't seen even a highlight of them.
I've watched a couple of their games. They're very hot and cold to me. Some games they look like the best team in the world, and other games they look like, wow, this team doesn't deserve to go out in the first round. So
Iowa seems like the team to me that would lose in the second round to VCU.
Iowa is so solid, but they have a ceiling on them, you know?
Yeah, and Gonzaga is going to do the typical thing and flame out either before the Sweet 16 or at the Sweet 16.
Yeah. I think Gonzaga's got a good chance to win the whole thing. I mean, when you look at this bracket, the best team that they're going to have to go against is Iowa, and I think that they can beat Iowa. So
Oklahoma actually is a team I've seen play a couple times, and they're pretty frisky. I could see if Oklahoma gets through Mizzou, I could see them giving Gonzaga a pretty good game.
That'd be an interesting one for sure. Creighton can get hot. Creighton hits threes a lot of threes.
Yeah, but I mean, don't talk to me about Creighton unless Doug McDermott's playing there. So I don't want any of that.
Teams that I'm gonna put on upset watch: Kansas. I'm gonna put them on upset watch. I like that Eastern Washington team. They're a very, very good shooting team as well. Texas, I'm putting on upset watch as well. Abilene Christian, they're interesting. I don't know if I'm gonna pick them, but that's gonna be an interesting game to watch. couple other games here that I was looking at that might be upsets. I like Texas Tech a lot. I know that I feel like this is just me picking with my heart because I love Matt McClung and I just want to shoot. I want to root for players that I like. But and then in the Midwest, I think Illinois is just going to run all the way through this section here. I don't know if I'm going to make a single bracket that doesn't have them coming out of this Midwest area. So Oklahoma State's interesting though. They have the best player in the country. So
I love that the whole tournament also is taking place in Indiana. Right. That's different from other years. If
getting in
for
a bubble
listeners,
in Indiana for a full month.
Well, and the worst part is I don't even know where this Simon Scout Assembly Hall is. I'm not sure where that is, but they're playing at Mackey Arena, which is Purdue, is one of the locations. Hinkle Fieldhouse, which I don't even know what that is because Bankers Life Fieldhouse is where the Pacers play. So I think Hinkle Fieldhouse, maybe that's...
Do you think that this gives any sort of advantage to like the Big Ten teams that don't have to travel out of the Midwest?
Well, all these teams always had to travel, but I mean, I don't think it's an advantage.
You don't think so?
No, not in college basketball.
I think it's more of an advantage that there's not going to be a whole bunch of fans there screaming for these underdog teams. I think it's going to be a little bit more chalky than usual, and we're going to have a lot of the favorites win, personally.
Yeah.
Shout out Loyola Chicago for making an 8th seed. You get to see Sister Jean again, maybe? I think she's 101 now, so hopefully we get to see her. But
another possible upset is Liberty over Oklahoma State.
Ooh, throwing shade at Oklahoma State, dude. Cade Cunningham, he's the future.
Yeah. Liberty's one of those schools that in all of their sports is kind of an upset contender. I know you don't know a whole lot about Liberty. I went on a college visit there. So I've always, and I went to one of their football games there actually. And that's one of the teams that I always have kept my eye on, like out of the corner of my eye, like here, I'll go scroll. And they've only been Division I in football for I think 2 years now, and they're independent and they end up 500 or over 500. They play some pretty bad teams, but
where's Liberty at?
It's in Lynchburg, Virginia.
You went on a college visit in Virginia?
Yeah.
Weird.
It's actually a pretty cool campus. It's really nice there.
Huh. I like Wichita State or Drake to upset USC as well. I know they have Mowgli, I believe it is. Every time I've watched USC this year, I've been so disappointed with how they've played.
Sounds like the typical USC thing. Or any California basketball teams. Like, I never think UCLA is any good.
People talk about them like, oh, man, they have all this talent. And then they just go out and they underperform, it feels like, in all of the games that I've watched. And maybe that's just I was tuning in on the wrong nights. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fun. I feel like when it comes to the bracket, the thing that is the most fun about it is that it seems like the people that always do the best are the people that haven't watched all year. So,
yeah,
people that think that they know what they're talking about end up often being wrong. So, fun.
But yeah, we'll definitely do the bracket idea for our listeners and stuff because that'll be fun.
Yeah, stay tuned, and I'll tweet that out, put that on our Instagram. So.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about? Anything else we want to touch?
Nope. Those were our main things. Probably going to have a lot of upsets to talk about next week. Hopefully we'll have Austin back on. We can dive into some college basketball as well as, what's going on. A little
bit of the hockey and the basketball.
More free agency in the NFL. We got some big names that still have to sign.
And then the draft is coming.
What do you think of
it's coming.
Of Strawberry Velvet?
Not too bad.
4 Noses. I enjoyed it. But I also like her fruity stuff, so.
You do like the more fruity stuff. So. All right. Well, let's sign off then. Until next time, everyone, thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok that we don't have yet. Is there any other social media that we're not on that we should be on?
Should we make a LinkedIn page? Should we add Devin Kajust?
Oh my gosh, that's an inside joke with the listeners.
If
Don't
anybody
know
gets
about-
that, please let us know. Please let us know
Yeah.
who Devin Cajuste is.
Me and Devin Cajuste are like this.
Yeah, buddy.
Buddies. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Until next time, take it easy.